joined by Jess Galatioto, the head field hockey coach at Elmira College. Thank you for your time, coach, and how are you doing today?
Yeah, good. And just so you know, it's Elmira, but everybody
Elmira.
gets it wrong the first time. So
Okay, Elmira, not Elmira.
yeah.
Right. Cool. Well, how are you doing? And just tell me a little bit, how's your summer been going so far?
Yeah, summer's good. It's always a little busy, a
Yeah.
lot of recruiting, a lot of clinics. We did a 7v7 tournament last month here at school for like some local high schools and clubs. So yeah, it's just you always think it'll be like calm, but it never is. So
Yeah. And tell me this summer, we're still in the summer, but you're about a month away from your season, which we'll talk about. But just tell me some of the things you've done, non-field hockey wise, and then some of the things you've done, for your field hockey, coaching duties.
yeah, not field hockey wise. A lot of hiking. I'm trying to like check out some local spots. There's a lot of cool places down in the southern tier of New York where there's like waterfalls and things like that. So I've been kind of finding some of that and going to some concerts and just little things like that. And went out to Colorado to see my sister last month. But yeah, and then field hockey wise, just like I said, recruiting and just kind of gearing up for season, basically.
Yeah, so can you tell me a little bit about Elmira? I know that your school is in Elmira, New York, kind of by the Pennsylvania border, and you're in the Empire A. I've interviewed some other Empire A, coaches, like St. John Fisher and Hardwick, which we'll talk about the Empire A for
Yeah.
the questions. But just tell me about your college.
Yeah, so Elmira is a small school. We're about an hour away from Binghamton, so we're actually very close to the Pennsylvania border.
Mhm.
So down southern tier. We're a little less than 1,000 students. I think we're right around 800 or so right now. Um, a lot of good majors though. I'd say our top majors are education, nursing, business, the sciences, and then we have some others. But um, yeah, we're right in the middle of the city of Elmira, so we've got a lot of things in close walking distance, but the school itself is all like together, which I think our students really like about it. So
Yeah. And so your upcoming season, it begins basically in a month from tomorrow, August 29th. You'll play SUNY Morrisville, home game on Friday night. So just tell me about your upcoming season. And for you as head coach, what do you look forward to the most? Or what do you get excited about the most with an upcoming season, a month away?
yeah, so I'm really excited about this season. This will be my third season here at Elmira. And I think this year our roster's kind of stayed small the last couple seasons, but this year I think will be maybe the most skilled roster that we've had since I've gotten here, which I'm excited about. We have some really strong returners coming back. We have a statistical champion and defensive saves returning, along with like a couple other strong defenders, and our attacking line is getting stronger and stronger. And then we've got a really good group of freshmen coming in. And the energy is good. I think everybody's really excited about it, and
Yeah.
yeah, hopefully we can snag a couple wins this year. So
Yeah. So doing my research, correct me if I'm wrong, coach, but you had a pretty good goalie last year. Can you tell me a little bit about that? Maybe your player?
yeah,
Or is my
our
research incorrect?
goalkeeper, yeah, she was the only one last year.
Okay.
She's actually not going to be returning this season, for a lot of different reasons, but um, yeah, she held her own back there the best she could, and we actually this year we're going to have a senior who didn't have as much field hockey experience before I got here. But she's also a wrestler. She's actually going to step into the pads. So she's kind of taking one for the team there. And we're really excited about her doing that. And yeah, I think it'll be a good year, a good senior year for her stepping into that role. So
Yeah, you've already been talking about my next question, but can you tell me about your team? Any notable players or just generally how your team looks going into the upcoming season?
yeah, I mean, like I said, we've got that Peyton DeMayo. She's a stat champion for D3 last year. So she's pretty strong. Got a couple strong attackers. Caitlin Ellenfield, Madison Fleming in the midfield, Nicole Luther on the tack. Yeah, really, I mean, it's really a good collection up there. And then we've got Annabelle Munns in the backfield too, who's a really strong defender. So um, yeah, they've all been starters they'll be starters again, likely this year, most of them, especially just with our size. So it's kind of given them an opportunity to, especially a lot of those names I just said are freshmen. And, starting as a freshman at the college level isn't easy, and it's also not extremely common, I think, for some programs that we play. So I think going into sophomore year and the sophomores being juniors, like we're just going to keep like gelling well on the field, I think.
Yeah. So you have your own home field, campus field where your team plays, coach. My next question, because I went to a small school myself, and I didn't necessarily play college athletics, but anyway, my question is, when I went to school, a small school, I would, always sometimes see, like a soccer game going on or a basketball game on. So it's always good to see that. Do you ever seem that you get, some students or, some fans to go to your team or not, or to your games, or not too many fans for your games?
Yeah, no, I would say we get a good amount,
Okay.
especially our field being on campus.
Yeah.
That was brand new last year. So that's kind of a new concept for us for field hockey. But yeah, we get a lot of students that come to ours, and I know my players, they go to a lot of other teams' games and support, and they're kind of friends of not just the field hockey team, which is nice. Like they're friends of people on other teams, so they're always supporting each other and stuff, which is it's a cool environment to be in for sure.
Yeah. So I was asking, this will be a two-part question, basically the same, but I was asking some other coaches, like lacrosse coaches who are also in New York, like the Empire 8. But I'm interested to know, coach, field hockey is obviously, an outdoor sport, mostly. What does your team do? Because obviously, it snows in the winter. So I was interested to know, what does your team do over the winter? Anything, practice-wise or just, field hockey-wise?
Yeah, so in the winter months, we mainly lift with our strength and conditioning coaches. So really focusing on strength building at that time and staying in shape. We do have a very small, we call it a turf room. It's like it's basically a racquetball court with turf in it. So all of our athletes can use that space. But ours, for field hockey, that's one of the only places that we can like go really work on skills and be on a turf surface. So they'll go in there a lot. And by the time we are able to practice again at the end of February, usually there's not like a ton of snow, or if there is, we can kind of shovel it off and we're able to go
Yeah.
right outside again. So yeah.
Mhm. And then, so you're basically a month away from your season beginning. What do you, as head coach, do to get ready for the season within, the final month until it begins? And then, obviously, your players will get on campus, closer to when classes begin, probably in a few weeks. But, what do your players do, once they get onto campus and classes begin? What do they do, closer to August 29th when the first game, is going to begin?
Yeah. Well, so the first part of your question right now, I'm actually like very in the thick of like schedule planning, like planning our training sessions, thinking about what things we really need to focus on in preseason. We're really going to add working on the mental game this year. So I'm kind of like factoring that into our schedule as well. And yeah, so those are the main things I guess I'm doing to prepare, at least like today, like this week.
Mhm.
But yeah, the team, pretty much all summer they follow like a running packet, and then they have lifts that our strength and conditioning coaches put together as well that they follow. So they're really just doing that the best they can to be in shape for preseason. And then once we get on campus on the 17th, we're fortunate that, we'll be on campus for, I think, about 2 weeks before classes start. So it's all field hockey. Even that first game actually happens before classes start here at Elmira. So
Okay.
they'll really be in field hockey mode for those 2 weeks, and just training and working on what we need to do to try to have like the best season possible, basically. So
So you mentioned your first game's going to be before classes. 'Cause when I went to school, we started like basically the middle of August, but your classes begin like in September.
yeah, so this
Okay.
year it falls just before or on Labor Day. Yeah, it's like the 31st or whatever that Monday is.
Okay.
It's actually the Monday after that first game is when classes start for us. So
Yeah, I think I remembered some student athletes at my school came to campus before the regular student athlete students. Is that correct for your school?
Yeah. Yeah, we
Okay.
always come to campus. It's usually somewhere between like a week and a half and 2 weeks before classes start. So,
Yeah, that's good. So I was interested in knowing within, you're basically within a month of your season starting, your duties as head coach, do they get any busier, within a month before your season beginning when you're in season versus like the winter and the springtime when your team, is not in season, or are your head coaching duties, always busy?
I feel like they're always busy. I mean,
Okay.
it just the busy changes, I think. I guess right now things are a little more lax just because there aren't students here. So, campus is super quiet. But I'm on the road a lot too, so that's a different kind of busy, I guess, traveling and stuff. But
Okay.
yeah, I mean, definitely season is always very hectic, especially, not only dealing with our season and our training schedule, but also trying to like watch recruits and seeing their games at the high school level and stuff too. So
No, okay. So I was interested in knowing because obviously I don't know a ton about field hockey. I more know about golf, but coaches go out recruiting for golf tournaments. They say like junior and amateur, golf tournaments. For you, you said you go to high school games. What other
yeah,
things do they have like field hockey tournaments that players play in, or what things do you go to other than like high school games to recruit or just look at
yeah,
potential players?
yeah. So a lot of tournaments are basically when the high school season ends is sort of when the club season really picks up, and
Okay,
that's where a lot of tournaments are. So that's like through the winter, spring, and even now. Like I'll be going to a tournament this weekend, for example. But then in the fall, because everybody's really in high school mode, it's really just games like 2 or 3 days a week, like
okay.
just normal games, not tournaments. So
Yeah, that makes sense. High school and then basically during the fall they play clubs. That makes sense. I wanted to ask, Coach, is your assistant coach this season still going to be Hannah Whittier or not anymore?
yep. Yep,
Yeah,
she'll
okay.
be returning for her third season, just like me.
Yeah,
She graduated from Elmira in
yeah.
23,
Hmm.
and when I got hired, she actually reached out and wanted to still be involved with the program, and so she started off as a volunteer, and then we're able to get her like as an actual assistant coach, and she's helping with recruiting and stuff, and she does teach in the area
Hmm.
during the day, so she's not in the office as much, but she's at every practice, games, and doing a lot of like behind the scenes stuff that I think our team doesn't see. So
Yeah. I wanted to talk about Hannah. I guess my first question will be just, you talked about it already, but what is it like to have an alum from Whittier, Hannah, as your assistant coach?
yeah, it's definitely interesting, especially since she's an alum, but I also didn't coach her, so
Mhm.
that like is a different aspect. Like it's not like she was one of my players. So especially the first year or two, she was super helpful because I didn't really know anything about Elmira, and she knew everything about Elmira. But it's really, I think our recruits like talking to her because obviously, I mean, she came here, she knows the ins and outs of the school side of things, and she also has the history of Elmira field hockey for now 7+ years. So she's definitely a really good asset in those senses for us.
Yeah, we talked about you being busy, but I'm sure Hannah's, you mentioned some of the things that she does, but I'm sure she's very busy. A lot of the times she, teaches, she's a graduate student, and she also helps out as assistant coach with your team. So, um, you know, first off, for you, do you see it like, is it very impressive for you to see all that Hannah does? And do you see sometimes that she is busy, or do you more see that she's just, really enjoys what she gets to do?
Yeah, it's a little insane like how much
Mhm.
she does do. There's things I don't even know. She's very involved in our community, and um like service is really important to her. So she does a lot of things in the community, volunteer work and stuff like that. So I can't even keep up, to be honest, with everything she does. But she's actually gotten our team involved in like some community service type things too, which has been really good. And yeah, I mean, I don't know how she juggles it all, but I think everything she does has strong intention why she's doing it. And I think the reason she's still with us is because she really has passion for ECFH and wants to see the program succeed and get better. And yeah, so
Yeah, definitely think she probably has or she has definitely has to have passion, to do all those things, be a graduate student, teach, and
yeah,
assistant coach. That's a lot. But next thing, the final thing I wanted to talk about with your upcoming season, I just wanted to get your perspective. Tell me about your schedule. How you think that'll look for the season, and then I want you just to talk about the Empire Eight. I know you played teams like SUNY Brockport, St. John Fisher, Hartwick, Alfred, teams like that. But can you just tell me about the Empire Eight? I know it's a Division III conference, mostly the art teams. And so I just wanted you to tell me a little bit about your schedule and the Empire Eight.
yeah. The Empire, it's a tough conference, and I think they'll, especially the last probably 5 years, we've gotten stronger and stronger as a conference, and getting more competitive in the postseason with against other conferences like the top schools that are in it right now. We're also a big conference. We've gotten bigger with SUNY Brockport and SUNY Geneseo. They added in last year, and then Alfred. They just added field hockey as a program, so this will actually be their first season with hockey and in the Empire Eight. So yeah, it's very competitive. It's a really tough schedule. Especially we're definitely struggling in it right now just because we do have a lot of rebuild to do. But it's good. I mean, if you wanna be good, then you got to play some of the best. So that's kind of how I feel about it anyway. So
Yeah, and then I wanted to talk about last season. Obviously, last season for your team didn't go the way I'm sure you or your players would have hoped. But, when it doesn't go the way that you wanted, I've had, I've had things, that didn't go the way I wanted to in my life. But what do you think, you as head coach, and what did your players, take away from last year, given that your season didn't go, the way you wanted to? Did your team, take away a lot? Did you learn a lot from last season? What, just,
yeah,
overall, how do you think, last season went for your team?
yeah. I mean, you hit it right. Like the season wasn't what we wanted it to be, obviously, but we knew it was going to be tough. I think we actually took a lot out of the season. I mean, we had about half of our starters were freshmen. And then we also had, when I first got to Elmira, about half our team had never played field hockey in their life. So we still even now have some of those players who didn't play high school field hockey. They weren't recruited here for field hockey. So that's a whole different element too, in terms of performance. But we're I think the biggest thing we took last season is we're really tight off the field. And I think being young, it's really going to translate on the field, especially in the next like season or two. And I think that'll really help as we get more recruits coming in who are excited and ready to play. So
Yes, you just made me think of a question because I never heard this from a coach. But given that you said you have some players who didn't play, high school field hockey, how is it, as coach, just getting players ready, or just having players on your team who didn't, play field hockey? Do you see that those players who didn't play high school field hockey, do they at least know, the rules and the basic things of field
yeah.
hockey, or is that a learning experience that they have to, learn?
Yeah, so my first year here, 2023, actually was hired right around now. So like the team was set, and basically a lot of the players who joined who didn't play in high school, they really just joined for almost something to do, but it really kept the program alive because if they didn't join, I don't think field hockey at Elmira, I don't know if it would exist anymore, to be honest with you. So um, we're really grateful that they joined up. When I walked into preseason that first year, um, they didn't know the rules. Some of them had never seen a field hockey game in their entire life. Like they got a stick in the summer, but some of them probably didn't really use it a lot because they didn't know what to do with it. It was completely foreign to most of them. So that first year was a struggle, and we were on grass that first year because that turfed campus field that just got built last summer. So
Okay.
there was a lot of factors coming to Elmira, but I know I'm super grateful for all of them, and some of them stayed through senior year, some haven't, but the team changes, and um, what's important to them changes from year to year too. So we're at the point now where we only have one of those people left. Actually, our senior who I was talking about, who's gonna step into goal for us, but I mean, now at this point, she knows the game. I almost feel bad because she's finally figured out like being a field player, and now I'm like, okay, let's put you in in the goal. But she seems to be excited about it. She's definitely a team player. So yeah, a lot of that first year was just survival mode, honestly, and survival and recruit to try to have these next couple seasons be
Yeah,
be better, basically. So
yeah.
yeah.
And final question before we get to talk about some of your background in field hockey. I just thought about this. So a player like your goalie who, is new to field hockey getting on your team. You mentioned that she's, a player who's willing to, learn, step up and, do what's needed for your team. What does that mean to you when you see a player like your goalie or maybe someone else who's willing to, step up and, try different things, maybe that they're not as familiar with as maybe other players?
Yeah, it's huge. I mean, it's that's the kind of player every coach wants, right? Like they're willing to do anything you ask of them, no matter how crazy it is, whether I don't know how much she might want to do it or not, but what the day I asked her about it, she was just like, coach, whatever's best for the team, like whatever the team needs. And that's, I mean, that's textbook for what you want from an athlete. So yeah, I'll be forever grateful for her during the season, and I'm excited for her to be in there. I was a goalie myself during my playing years, so
Okay.
training a goalkeeper is not that's something that comes extremely natural to me, and so kind of teaching her what I can in one season, I think it'll be exciting, and yeah, we'll see how does, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great that you have players who are willing to step up in your team. It's great. So Coach, you grew up in Queensbury, New York, so you're also from New York. Just tell me a little bit about Queensbury and just how you got started playing field hockey.
Yeah, Queensbury, it's near like the Lake George area, if
Okay.
anybody's aware of New York. So um bigger school. And how I got started is kind of by chance, I guess. I mean, I basically had a friend in middle school who wanted to play, and she just kind of like got me to try out basically for like that, those first years when you're like on the modified level. Um, didn't know anything about it. Like my parents weren't super athletic, so it's not like it's something that's in my family or anything. I was actually all year round softball player, like played travel softball, did the recruiting process for that. So playing, starting out with field hockey in middle school, and I had done some things, elementary level just for something like it was literally, I'm not even kidding, it was just something to do, basically. So obviously it turned into much more. So
Yeah. And you played softball and field hockey. So two-part question. Uh, what was it like for you, playing multiple sports? And then when you recruit players, do you like to get players who, play multiple sports growing up?
yeah, so I played a lot of sports growing up, and through high school, I played field hockey, softball, and I also downhill ski raced. So I was
Okay.
a three-sport athlete through high school. At the college level, I ended up just playing field hockey, which is a whole other story in itself. But yeah, I enjoy when our recruits do other sports, and honestly, I like when they do other things, like when they're involved, other sports is good because I think that makes you more of a well-rounded athlete. But being involved in things that aren't even athletics, like music or theater or art, anything like that, I think is great because I want to bring recruits here who, yes, it can be a little stressful sometimes, scheduling wise, like if you have players who are doing multiple things on campus, but at the end of the day, I enjoy them being involved. I like supporting them in things off the field, and I really do like seeing that in our recruits. So
Yeah, that's great.
yeah.
So coach, you played at Castleton. So can you tell me, you were a goalie there. So can you tell me a little bit about your time at Castleton and just how you ended up attending Castleton?
Yeah. How I ended up there is strange, I guess. I was basically between Castleton and another school, and I had was at a visit at that other school, and for like the second or third time, like literally I could not make a decision. This is like April of senior year, probably,
Okay.
and um, so I'm going just to like figure it out, basically. And long story short, I get like at the end of the day, I got like a pack of M&Ms out of a vending machine, and like over half of the M&Ms are green. Like I'm not even kidding. And that was Castleton's color was green. So I literally looked at my mom and I was like, all right, like that's I'm just gonna go to Castleton. Like this is telling me something.
Yeah.
So that's like it's a weird story, but that's like the God honest truth. And I mean, it turned out to be a great decision, and playing there was amazing. We had a great team. Teammates are still some of my best friends to this day. And um, my sophomore and junior seasons, we were really good, and we ended up winning the conference both those years. And I had a great coach during my time there, my first 3 years there before she left. But yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great. So then, after Castleton, you started your coaching career at Bethany College, and you've also coached at St. John Fisher. So just tell me about, your coach, like what did you learn from those two experiences, and what drew you to become a college field hockey coach?
Yeah, both were extremely different experiences. So Bethany was a very small program, kind of the size of us right now.
It's in West Virginia. I was doing my
West
research.
Virginia. Yep.
Okay.
Very middle of nowhere place where it was. And actually I was there for 2 years, but after my first year, they actually ended up cutting the program. So I kind of saw how a program can disintegrate basically and die. And then I was lucky enough that they kept me on. They allowed me to finish my master's, and I did like a lot of other things for the department. So I think that's where I tend to get my hands in a lot of things outside of like being the field hockey coach now. And I think some of that is just because of my background when I was at Bethany. Um, but so then transition over after seeing a program completely die off. I go to St. John Fisher, which is a really strong program, big school. A lot of recruits want to go to a school like St. John Fisher, and it was just a completely different experience. But also being when I started there, the head coach was actually part-time. So that was very interesting too, to see how to navigate that basically, and having a part-time boss, and you're like extremely part-time, and you're all just trying to juggle the things to do what's best for the program and for our athletes. And yeah, it was a good experience, and I'm really happy that I got to see that after being at Bethany, because it was kind of like, I came from a team that was winning conference championships, then saw the complete opposite, and then got to see um, a team like Fisher who would go off to be super successful, and they've won the E8 a couple times and stuff like that. So yeah.
Yeah. Given you have, coaching experience, at Bethany and St. John Fisher, as we talked about, what did you learn from those experiences that have helped you now as head coach at Elmira?
Yeah, I think that both experiences taught me very different things. I think at Bethany, it taught me a lot of the ins and outs of the athletic department and like what happens behind the scenes. Um, I think at Fisher, it really taught me like how important your relationships with the players are, and how that can really translate on the field, and um, like create a program as successful as they have been.
Yeah, that's great. So you've been the head field hockey coach at Elmira since 2023. What has it been like, being the head coach at Elmira since 2023? And what was it like in 2023 when you were named the head field hockey coach?
Yeah, it's been great. I really love it. I've come to love Elmira. It's a great school. It's got really great people. When I first got here, I'll be honest, I didn't even want to apply to the job. My dad actually convinced me to, and kind of what sold me was seeing the campus because I had never seen Elmira's campus before because the field that they were playing on was off. It was like 15 minutes away. So I didn't really know what Elmira consisted of, I guess. And so I was very impressed when I came to visit. And then um, when our athletic director, Rhonda Fonts, called me, like I was saying earlier, the team was like in shambles a little bit. It was not an ideal situation at all. And she was extremely blunt about it. She didn't sugarcoat anything. And I really respected that about her. And I think at some point during the call, she was like, are you still there? Like, are you still listening? I'm like, yep, keep going. That was very attractive to me because I want to work for somebody who is going to be that way, is going to be straightforward and not try to make things sound like they aren't. And I feel like I'm that way with my players and in our recruiting process too. I'm a pretty blunt, straightforward person. So I kind of I look for that in other people, I guess. And
Yeah,
um, but yeah, it's like I said, I really wasn't even sure about applying. And I mean, it's been a very good decision. I'm really happy to be here and I'm really excited about growing this program more over the next couple of years and, seeing what we can do basically. So,
yeah, that's great. I had two more questions I wanted to ask Coach. Something interesting about you, you're obviously the head field hockey coach, but in addition to that, you're also a student success coach. So can you tell me what is a student success coach and just tell me about, some of the things that you do as a student success coach and how you became one?
yeah, so we have a department on campus called CAPE. It's an acronym
Okay.
for I always forget. It's Center for Academic Performance and Excellence, I think, is what it stands for. And so student success is one piece of CAPE. And basically what that means is there's a couple of us. There's three right now, three coaches who are student success coaches, but I'm the only one from athletics right now who's doing it. So, and I basically kind of got brought onto that just based on my background. I, Before Elmira, I was at Wells College, and when I was there, I did a lot of things outside of field hockey. I taught a little bit. Taught like freshman seminars, so I worked with our freshmen and I had a lot of different roles like that. And I was a assistant AD for student athlete success. So kind of similar lines basically. But my main role in that, besides sort of being like a liaison to both departments, is I work with a lot of our student athletes who um, they could be struggling. They don't have to be struggling academically, but most of them are. And that's why they come seek me out. And basically just helping them stay on track, giving them tips and tools if they need it, like test taking or staying organized, especially in season with the chaos that season can bring with, time management and things like that. And yeah, it's kind of a multitude of things. So it's a cool position to be in. I like it because I get to know a lot of our athletes outside of the field hockey team and um yeah, that those are kind of the main points I guess I do in that role. So
Yeah, it's great that you take on those duties. Do you just work for your student success duties? Do you just work with athletes or do you work with non-athletes?
it's mainly our student athletes, but
Okay.
I have worked with non-athletes before and sometimes if they just sometimes we'll try to match students based on personality or based on their needs. So it's worked out a couple times where um, a, a student has just preferred talking to me basically for whatever reason. And I'm fine with that. I'll talk to any student here on campus about whatever they need to be successful, basically.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, it's a little rare-ish, but I've definitely done it and have a couple students who see me, and some of them too are even though they're not a student athlete, they have a similar mind of a student athlete because they're involved in so many things that they are dealing with like that time management piece. So it's good working with those types of students too. So
Yeah, that's great that you take on that role. Yeah, really great. So finally, coach, I always end on, this question with the other coaches that I've interviewed. For you, what do you enjoy most about getting to be a head field hockey coach? And I've, heard your passion for this throughout the interview. So what do you also enjoy most about getting to be at Elmira?
yeah, I mean, I think what I enjoy most about Elmira is honestly the people, and it's in a great location too. So personally, it's a good fit. But in terms of being the head field hockey coach, I mean, I guess I really got into coaching for the sport, and now it's really about my players. Like it's the student athletes are what keep me in it, and they're the reason I do this. They're the reason I like coming to work and seeing them grow throughout their 4 years here, and even seeing them come into practice or come into the office, and they're sharing whatever's going on their day, or sometimes they're having a bad day, and kind of seeing by the end of practice that they're in like a much better mood than at the start. Like those are all the things that really excite me about this job, basically, and even talking to recruits and like feeling their excitement when they choose us. Um, but yeah, it's really about my team, honestly, and they're the reason I do this. So.